Why is data so expensive? I don't understand.
I think it's obvious. We know the obvious reasons. Even 3G, we are not seeing it up. They want to go 5G. Hi everyone, welcome to Building Bytes, where we tell relevant stories about the Ghanaian tech ecosystem to drive innovation and growth. So today I'm here with the Building Bytes team, myself, Caleb, as a co-host with
Akweley Abanaokai.
And I'm Poga Kofi.
All right, so Akweley, what's happening in tech?
What happened in tech is sponsored by Bear Connect, and we have 3 items here. The first item is the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy launch in Ghana. So I'm going to go right into the story, which was by Tech Library. So Ghana's Communications and Digitalization Minister, Mrs. Esla Osu Ekufo, officially launched the country's National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy. The policy aims to build a resilient digital ecosystem, secure digital infrastructure, develop national capacity, deter cybercrime, and strengthen cooperation. It was created by the International Telecommunication Union's Global Cybersecurity Agenda Guideline for Cybersecurity Development, and is based on 5 pillars: legal measures, technical measures, organizational measures, capacity building, and cooperation. So what are they saying? Our world today has changed, with digitalization presenting both opportunities and risks to individuals, businesses, and societies and nations. So the growing dependency on networks, digital systems for socio-economic development has attracted the attention of malicious actors who seek to undermine the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of these infrastructures, Mrs. Eslausu Ekufu stated. Yeah, so this is the story by the Ghana Cybersecurity Authority. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think where we are going as a country, things are advancing technically. It was very important that we have a strategy on how to make room for when things go wrong, and especially if you have a strategy on cybersecurity is very, very important. I think it's very important.
And
yeah, I think it makes sense for us to start putting things in place towards the future. Now with the advances of AI and all this machine learning and all that, there's a need to other industries. Bank of Ghana will say they are protecting the citizens' money. Mm-hmm. There's a need to protect the citizens' data as well. So I think the right step for the country, and the ministry will wish them all the best.
Okay.
What I think it's a good initiative. What I would hope, and I believe maybe this policy will address the educational aspects. I think we need to do a lot of education for cybersecurity education for our citizens. So I don't know, hopefully it covers a couple of that, and we're looking forward to see how it's also private sector, their parts in this policy, how the policy address the role of private sector in national cybersecurity. So yeah.
We still see reposts on WhatsApp from our fathers and our grandmothers and aunties about some awards, and you have to click and share with all your family members.
Free time.
Share with 20 people.
Right? Yeah. So I really hope the implementation of this would, like Poga Yaw saying, educate more of our citizens on some of these attacks and how they can protect themselves, because they might think they don't really have a lot of information for anyone to steal from. But what about your pension? I don't know. Yeah. So now on the second item, we have Ghana to launch 5G service on November 1st. This is by the Minister of Communications. In a radio interview that was done recently, Ghana's Ministry of Communications and Digitalization stated that Ghana's launch of its 5G service would go ahead on November 1st, 2024. In a radio interview with Kwame Sipakai on Peace FM's Kukuku, the Minister of Communications stated that the launch would be happening on Friday, the 1st of November, 2024, instead of the planned September launch. Now, flashback on June 24th, in a press conference, the minister stated that the country will launch its shared 5G network by September 2024. The government had announced that it was partnering with industry players such as Ascend Digital, KNet, Radisys, Nokia, Tech Mahindra, AT Ghana, and Telecel to roll out 5G services on a shared platform. MTN was confirmed by the Minister of Communications to have taken part in the discussions. The network would be deployed by next-gen infrastructure company. Now, zooming in, notably, MTN was ready to launch its 5G pilot in 2022, but cancelled its plans for unknown reasons. Guys.
Yeah, I know it's tough on the last point, but I want to release it unknown reasons. But the agenda to drive people to use 5G, like makes sense. Initially, I would have said that isn't necessary. Even 3G, we are not seeing it all. They want to go 5G. But someone else mentioned we can't say that because of the challenges of now, we don't aspire to do like greater things. So, yeah, in as much as we are driving that, I believe there should be a balance that the likely people to use 5G, I mean, will be able to use it. And those struggling at 3G or 2G could be picked up. So, yeah, good effort. I believe all parties needs to play a role in it. Seeing MTN drop out for unknown reasons.
I think they're about
The
conversation.
The dropout was stated to be 2020.
You're about the conversation.
But yeah, they are part of the special vehicle.
Next gen company. Okay, then I think that's a good one because we all know that majority of our users are on MTN. So that should be a key player if we are working on, driving like internet usage or at a certain bandwidth. So it makes sense.
I'm curious to know the unknown reasons. I don't know.
In 2020.
In 2022.
I mean, it could be obvious in retrospect, but yeah. Hey, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing. 5G would increase the power rates and hopefully some of the connectivity challenges we are facing will be solved. But also, I think it would be good if the telcos invest more into infrastructure to increase coverage in places that have challenges. So we're looking forward to the implementation and how, it will give us a better internet experience in general.
I totally agree with the infrastructure because why is data so expensive? I don't understand.
I think it's obvious. We know the obvious reasons.
What is the obvious reason?
The answer is based on the network on which you are.
Exactly.
If you're on MTN, you know the
I mean, the other networks are equally expensive.
Oh, but they know they are much cheaper.
They're much cheaper.
They are cheaper, but they are not.
I mean, they're expensive in another. If you talk about maybe connectivity and the speed and all that, I can agree that that also affects you. But definitely, MTN is much more expensive.
Yes, I mean we know that, but also I think
and it's not their fault. Let's also say it's not their fault.
Some will argue different.
Yeah, they said it's not their fault.
I think I think once they increased their price, they mentioned it was due to cost of operations.
But you also know it was also, a switch from
SMP.
Yeah, so the SMP is also different. But I think my point I'm driving to is when you look at on the scale of cost of internet in Africa, I don't remember, but I think Ghana is very low on the scale. So I think
very low, not very low.
Like how it's very expensive.
Yeah,
how cheap.
Yeah, Ghana is very.
I think across Africa, we're one of the cheapest.
No. We are one of
the as compared to Kenya and
I think
South
that's
Africa.
We are one of the
Kenya.
You can check. We have the cheapest.
I'm checking right now.
And it's something the government has been quoting a lot. But I think that is out of context. Economic living conditions are different across the board.
Yeah.
So just the internet
that's also
it's a different conversation. It might be cheaper, but locally it's expensive.
It's expensive. You don't want to make sense.
All right. So we are moving on to our final item. ATMs in Ghana increase modestly as POS terminals decline. And this is a report by City Newsroom. The total number of automated teller machines, ATMs, deployed by banks across Ghana reached 2,287 by the end of 2023, reflecting a modest 1.4% increase compared to 2022. In contrast, point of sale, that's POS terminals, experienced a significant decline, dropping by 6.91% to 12,491 by December 2023. According to the 2023 Payment Systems Oversight Annual Report, this reduction was primarily due to the decommissioning of non-functional POS devices by some commercial banks. The report highlights that digital transformation continues to reshape Ghana's banking landscape, with banks prioritizing investments in digital platforms to enhance customer experience. Additionally, the issuance of debit cards reached over 6 million by December 2023, marking a 17.558% increase from 5.1 million in 2022. So this is the story.
Clearly, we are a mobile money driven country. So if POS is just dropping, I don't think it's like a new story, or it should worry. That is what I believe. And
I think it's the issuance of the POS, not the usage, that it dropped. So the banks,
the issue, like the terminals. The terminals is dropping a bit because not many people use it, and it also depends on locations that are being considered. So in general, we are just mobile money. Mobile money can cover lots of things. Maybe unless you're a foreigner, that you might be limited in like your payment system. But if not that, for most things you can do like with mobile money, and it's fine.
There's also things like people also, not to cut you, but people also use a lot of card payments these days.
But I don't know for online stuff, that more like in-person
POS. So go and buy something at the mall. Most people prepare to pay with, and even with the POS, some of the POS take mobile money.
I'm
only curious, like why the issuance is dropping, like.
But
in 2024, like I'm curious.
Commercial banks.
How?
Commercial banks. It could be that maybe the banks are not driving that easy. They're not driving that channel of music. Because if maybe I want you to do, I prefer like you doing transfer in my on my system. I would encourage you to use a POS.
And now they all have apps.
And they all have
apps.
Are they working?
Oh, for most, they are functional. Like most apps are like functional.
They have apps. That's what matters.
I don't think most of them. Especially the ones within ours.
You can mention their mix.
Anyway.
I will listen there.
So this is the news item. This is what happened in tech this week. Over to you, Caleb.
All right, so this is a special all host edition of Building Bytes. And in this episode, we are reflecting on our journey so far and how, we have done so far. People are watching us, have been following us, have been keeping up the trends. We mentioned earlier that we've done about 25 episodes, and according to podcast data, less than 1% crossed, go beyond 10 episodes. So doing 25 plus in one season is a major one. So we've hit some milestones. I want to reflect, go back and discuss some of these things we've done. And also, if possible, share what the future looks like for Building Bytes. If it was a company, maybe it will do end of year AGM. But this is our own Building Bytes AGM. So you're welcome. Today, we are speaking on the topic, reflecting on our milestones and what's next for Building Bytes. To start with, we just want to reflect on some of our challenges. Because most people see Building Bytes to be like that's very successful podcast, tech podcast that is driving growth and innovation in the Ghana tech ecosystem. And I think it's a good place to start with. Maybe some of the challenges we faced. And
I think just to not to cut you, but maybe we should start to why we started this in the first place. I don't know if you want to start with that, please.
So I think why has changed a bit, but maybe I'll start from a reason why. So primarily, we are software entrepreneurs. All four of us are software entrepreneurs. And then we are building businesses. And then we also see the Ghanaian ecosystem in a certain way. And we also feel like there are a lot of things happening in the Ghanaian ecosystem that should be highlighted. That doesn't get talked about. Or there are stories happening that if I'm not your friend, I don't get to know it too. So we want to create a universal platform, not driven by us, but then owned by almost everybody in the ecosystem, that we can tell stories, relevant stories, not just any story, relevant stories. So that, we are highlighting the ecosystem, we are sharing our insights, and then we can all and we grow together as an ecosystem. And then even through that, also share our experiences building companies and then things like that.
Okay. Yeah, what do you add?
Yeah. So yeah, I think Yao said it. Basically, we wanted to highlight some of these stories. I think the conversation started with us, having conversation and sharing our own personal experience. But I think we wanted to create a sort of open system where people have visibility into the tech ecosystem and then the startup ecosystem, so that they get to know some of these stories and basically learn from these stories, like, highlights the Ghanaian tech ecosystem, the amazing things happening to people that don't know. Some people are building in silos, but, I think one thing that we have come to do over the period of, Building Bytes existence is we didn't start out to create a community, but I think we have built a community of people that are interested in the things that we're interested in. And we sharing knowledge and sharing our stories together.
So what are some of the challenges we faced? What are some of the challenges we've experienced? I know you are the superstars, they're the new celebs. Like when you go anywhere, whether in the tech community or to work, everybody knows that like you run a podcast, you're on a podcast. And they probably assume you're doing so well, so you don't have any challenge.
Well, why are you asking the question for my turn?
Masa. I mean, I'm asking you.
You're part of this.
Yeah, maybe when it gets my turn, I'll take it as a personal question. So, what are some of the challenges that we face as a tech community, as a tech informant, if I say?
Maybe we used to have challenges, but maybe I just Poga can start. I'm not seeing a lot of challenges.
I think as in everything, there are challenges and they up and down. There are things you wish would go better. But I think one of my struggles has been that this is start to become a full-time job. Although,
the fun part is
initially it was fun having conversation and all, but I think the level of commitment and the level of commitment it requires to, give out our best is become a full-time job. I believe we can do more, and it would also require lots more effort from us. So I think this is some of the unseen struggles that, we've been having, that people don't see. This is much more like, we are approaching it from a business angle. Like we want to run this as a business and make it as successful as possible. But for now, it's much more like a voluntary, volunteering work, and there are fulfilling parts, but there are no monetary rewards currently, and it's become a full-time job while you also have your full-time job and other stuff, other commitment to do. So I think that there are some of the struggles that people don't see that we face currently.
Yeah, I think I agree with it. Now it's become more of like being responsible for like a child. And sometimes, we didn't have premarital sex, but give birth on one child. And like all of a sudden, you have to take care, you have to bear it. And like you said, that responsibility to also answer to the community, to get the right information, the right answers to people around, to get people in their silos out, to share what they are building. It's now, it's become a work. It's become work. And you really have to be intentional. You have to be careful how you communicate. You have to be sound, balanced in the statement or comments you pass. Initially, if somebody asks us any question and you want to answer, we can answer like freely and not bother what you would have said. But now with the way, we have a reputation to hold an ecosystem, on your neck or your chest and your head. There's some kind of responsibility. You don't want to put anybody down. You don't want to badmouth people as much as possible, but I want to create that unity in the ecosystem to that. So I think that responsibility has been one of our challenges recently, and for me, I'm trying my best to pull it along and see how I can mix it up with other things Poga mentioned.
Any challenges?
Okay, so I joined the podcast quite later. I think last month.
Yeah.
Yes, last month. Yeah. So for me, I'll first of all go about the current journey, and then what kind of challenges I have experienced, right? So I joined when this podcast was talking more about or spotlighting the players, the tech players who have, made massive impact in the Ghanaian tech ecosystem. And so it quite aligned with what I had been initially doing, similarly in a different context where I was getting people to basically share their story and imbibe knowledge, right? And for me, this comes off as the responsibility that we are talking about comes off because we are seeing that a lot of attention has been drawn and there's a much heavier burden to tell relevant stories, not just any stories, right? And so like we have all mentioned, now your voice is trusted. So you have to be very careful about what you say. And that's not easy to do when you have opinions, right? And you're an entrepreneur.
Strong opinions.
Yeah.
You're applying for licenses to how to read a fintech office.
Yeah. And you're also talking about government. Things related to the government.
Right now you're doing video.
And right now you're doing video. So there's a lot of responsibility on you and on us. And so I think it's not necessarily a challenge. It's just a task we have to fulfill in a more decorum manner and to basically highlight the Ghanaian culture out of it, right? So that once you have a few of this podcast, you basically come into contact with the Ghanaian culture, not just the Ghanaian tech culture. So
Of course.
Yeah.
I think, Akweley, I've put it like a better articulated from that. Most of us would have. So, what lessons have we learned from building a podcast, driving listenership, driving growth? And, in other podcasts, it can just be like making a point or sending out like a message or communicating something. But in our case, or maybe not just our, but in our case, you have to attach a community. You have to attach companies to it. You're attaching a regulator to it. You can't just make any statement. You can't just make any decision. You can't just call anyone out. You have to be balanced because I consider like a whole ecosystem. What are some of the lessons we've learned from it? We have all learned in our, in general, I say now like 35 plus episodes, but for this season, 25 plus episodes. What are some of the lessons we've learned in running a podcast? In Ghana, especially a tech podcast. Well, not even from the interviews per se, as from the top. If you look down, what lessons have you picked that up out of it?
For me, I think maybe I've not articulated, but I think the fact that there are a lot of things happening, right?
Yeah.
And if you start to do something about, like, you're starting to tell stories about it, and sometimes you feel like no one is really getting to know what you are doing.
Yeah.
But you get to know that there are a lot of people like following what you are doing.
Yeah.
And then they're also excited that you are doing that.
Yeah.
And then they're not just excited about it, but they want to help.
Yeah.
And they end up helping you. Supporting you some way, somehow. Maybe, okay, you have to talk to this person. No, you have to talk to this person also. You have to bring this guy on board also. I feel like I don't know how to put it, but it's some lesson maybe a year ago, I didn't see the ecosystem in that light.
Yeah.
That, okay, people are that open. Okay, people want to support that way. Okay, people want to tell their stories. Yeah. That you don't have to like maybe go hit 1, hit 2, hit 3. Yeah. No, there are people that will hit 1, hit 2, hit 3 that they don't want to tell their stories. We understand that maybe the season in which their business it doesn't make sense. Yeah. But I feel like it's one lesson. I don't know how to put it, but it's a great lesson. It's supportive. The ecosystem is supportive. The ecosystem is like, it's willing, like leaders in the ecosystem, like want to push the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Like people that you talk to that they feel like, okay, you guys are doing something, you'll be quiet for some time. Like, I don't know how to, I feel like
generosity,
not GPS, but the ecosystem is a lot more generous and a lot more supportive.
Yeah.
It's a good lesson.
Yeah, that's nice. I feel what lesson have you figured out? Running a podcast and listening to all that things. Thank you with it.
Okay. So, similar to what you mentioned so far, people are more open to sharing their stories. I mean, when you go, so I go for a lot of networking events, and when you go for networking events, sometimes the kind of conversations you are going to have with certain people of certain status is quite different from how they would approach it from, on this podcast, Building Bytes.
Yeah.
They also see it as a sense of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
As much as it is on us to get them to tell relevant stories, they also see it as a sense.
They're part of it.
Yes, they're part of it. And that's so beautiful, right? It just allows us to inform people, entrepreneurs, and relevant stakeholders in the Ghana Tech ecosystem on things that are happening, to give them a voice also. So we are also a voice, and we're also giving more people voices to speak up on the kind of services that they are experiencing from Ghanaian tech companies and all that. So I think, yes, it's a lesson of inclusivity, getting people more interested and involved. Interested and involved. And
I also like the fact that like the interest and involvement is genuine. Poga would say organic. It's organic, right? And there are instances that we might face some technical challenge, right? And then I guess we have to wait for like an hour before we record. And naturally, a person of that caliber must be angry with you.
But they are not.
But they are not.
True.
And sometimes it makes you like, you start to think about like how you see you view life, right? And I think like it's amazing. It also comes back to like the part of inclusivity, genuine support. It's like something that we've learned that if we didn't run this podcast, like I would never have seen this ecosystem that likes me.
Okay.
So yeah, I think my point also boils down to the same things that we've been talking about. So I think it boils down to how much you could build. So between the four of us, how far we have come with building together. I think we've achieved a lot working together between the four of us within this period of a year. So it's also shows how much when you build a community, when you share your story to people that resonate with your story, how much they can provide support and provide feedback to you to help build your product. And this all drives back to what we set off to do, to tell relevant stories, to drive growth and innovation. So I think, we've kind of reconfirmed what we set off to do, that, when you share a story, people resonate to you, they provide feedback, and they help you to build. So it just underlines the power of communities. When you relate, you talk to people that are doing the same thing that you're doing. They're building companies in the same way that you're building. There is some shared experience, people relate. And even beyond, the knowledge sharing level, there's this companionship level. I mean, challenges that you face, it could be mental challenges, social challenges. You resonate with people that, have the same challenges as you. Could be interpersonal challenges. And, it gives you a certain association, and, it makes you build better companies and be a better person as a whole when you're well-rounded and, your health is well-rounded mentally and physically. So I think, it's shown the power of, communities and how we can build better products when we share and, with our community.
Right. Yeah. So, I would say in summary, but with all you said, I think, one of the things I've learned from it is the need to build, the need to have like support system, or as maybe some people say, get co-founders. I think that's one of the things I've accepted a lot, that building with other people can help you get far. And I think there is speed in it. Maybe you just don't see the speed in the way you'd have seen if it's just yourself. Because if it's just if you move, you have moved. There's no one to track. There's nothing to watch against. But when you move as a team, I think a lot gets done. Lots of ideas get shared. So for us on this podcast, a lot of developments have come by the way. which we didn't think of or plan of from day one. I don't know how, but we didn't think of it. Maybe we were not that futuristic as people would think. So, and it's fine, but because of some of this team play and community, you build fast, you learn a lot of things, and you build what people want, or you do the things people want. Sometimes you think one aspect of the podcast makes sense, then somebody tells you, okay, maybe this part we should tune it a bit or reduce it a bit or spend less time on it. Then you get that feedback, you put in that feedback, you realize, okay, it helps. They are listening more, they are sharing more, they are engaging more. Some of the commitment or I would say loyal listeners we've had for the podcast, we didn't know them before the podcast. We never knew them, but in the process of it, we find, people we know, we like, we love, and they stick with us. So doing this like as a side project, sometimes you are tempted to think, okay, maybe we can go like full scale with it, because you are seeing the feedback, you are seeing the things that maybe financially you can't be that.
Right now you can.
Yeah, right now you can't do that. So I think that lesson has been like strong for me, building with the community, building with the team. I think anyone considering doing a podcast or doing anything, no matter how like skilled or good you are, like consider doing with others, especially people are like who align with it. It really helps. Yeah. So I think that's it for me. So the next thing is your favorite episode.
From the 25.
From the 25 episodes, that's for season 2. What?
Can I start with?
Maybe your favorite episode.
Maybe we should look at it. Like in terms of sharing.
Okay.
What's
So
more listenership?
What has more listenership so far?
So, I wish I could run through a bit of the episodes we've done, and it's a lot. Just mention a few. So we had one with Eric in Sako on the mobile.
That was the
mobile money.
foundation.
On the mobile money market. So that was the first
favorite or one of the favorites.
Yeah, and the first one we had one with Eric in Sako. Then we had one with the former head of the hubs in Ghana, Josiah. Ghana Hubs Network, Josiah. Then we also had another one with Olufemi Adeomi of MES, Director of Programs at MES. We had Aaron from Letty Arts. We had Vanessa from Video Fulfillment. We had Benjamin Saki on product design. We had Brighter Hido on product market fit as a mentor. We had Paul Damale as an exited founder, what it means to be an exited founder. We had Derek Omari on accessibility. We had Sandesta on storytelling with Wikimedia. We had Joseph Albert Curie, editor of Tech Library, covering Ghana Tech ecosystem over 7 years. We had Rewire's, one of the episodes we do as like addition to the season. We hosted Marina Odro from Verified By. We had Emmanuel Gamo speaking on the influence of global tech in Ghana. We hosted Desmond Kone on Complete Farmer. We had Stefan Frolich on Code to Leadership, how a developer gets to leadership. We had CEO of Hubtel, Alex Brown, as well, sharing on Hubtel's journey over the years. We had Christine sharing supporting African entrepreneurs. We had CEO of Affinity, Tariq Mugani, on building a digital bank and making growth capital accessible to African SMEs. We had the former Chief Digital Officer of MTN, Dario Panichi, share on leading digital transformation in the tech company or in the telecom company. We had our All-Stars Women, that was so great.
My favorite. So
we hosted the Zephyr of Achieve App, sharing how they are driving digital savings and investment. And recently shared on building for remote areas with Emmanuel Dia and Director of Engineering Design at Farmerlife. So if I had a lot of, I would say like blockbuster episodes.
Solid.
Thinking about it, it's really difficult to choose one. But let's try our best.
I'll just run through like the top.
What will be the top from listenership? Yeah.
The top 10 listenership. So the first one, obviously you should know. Here it is. It's the actual episode.
Okay.
And then the second one is Benjamin Saki, which evolution of Ghana's product landscape. And then the third one is the conversation we had with Complete Farmer. Fourth one is surprising Code to Leadership, Stefan Fronik's episode, Damte Guys episode. The fifth one is an interlude, Rewire, Benjamin, Manuel,
Technism.
Ebenezer
Ghani,
sorry, Ebenezer Ghani.
Cool.
And then, the 1, 2, 10, 4, 6 is Gamo's episode. Seventh is Irene Woodrow, Building Tech to Support SMEs. And then eight are 2 stubborn episodes from last season. They are revisiting
the title?
So that one, the first one is the Ghanaian tech ecosystem. So we did an overview of the Ghanaian tech ecosystem.
Okay.
And then the 10th one is where startup ideas come from.
Wow.
Maybe you have to be a part 2 of it. So that is last.
Okay.
But this is like
This is a country. No, so I think if maybe I'm tempted to say company size, it's not surprising that I mean the leaders of the top 10 makes sense. Interesting. One thing I like about the top 10 list is it's also diverse. That's one good thing. It has every side in it. So I think that's like a positive thing for us. Maybe we can still drive on that. For me, it's difficult. Every episode I obviously learn more. And to all our listeners, to all our guests. Okay, start.
My favorite episode so far is the All-Star Women in Tech episode.
Okay.
It's for obvious reasons. One, when we thought about it,
I didn't expect that to be your favorite.
I had a favorite, but I just changed it. when we initially thought about the episode and how the episode came out, for me personally, it exceeded my expectations.
Sure.
And I feel when the guests on that day they were the host. When the host they took over the show. It was so organic, so natural, and for viewers, that day was the first day all of them met in person.
Yeah.
And the conversations were like, they know themselves like days or months before the episode. And also the fact that having them on the show, it was still a Building Bytes podcast. You could feel everything about the Building Bytes podcast in there. That made it one of my favorite episodes. Yeah.
Awesome.
I was on the show.
They're talking about that. So you can mention, you can still mention what your favorite episode would be.
Okay, so of course, if I have to be biased, I would always choose that episode because it was my first time on a podcast, on like another person's podcast, right? Yeah, and it was this first time meeting all of them. Coming together, exactly like you said, we were just vibing, we were just sharing our experiences and sharing advice, even up to now, we still talk sometimes. So I think
connection.
It was okay. So let me just go to my own. So I think my favorite would be so this is not a bias.
Forgot do that. It's not messy one.
The one we had with Alex.
Okay.
Yes, of Haptel. Honestly, guys, if you're a tech company and you haven't listened to that episode, I don't know. You should go and listen to it. Yeah. So it basically highlights everything you didn't know about a Ghanaian tech company.
Yeah.
It just I enjoyed listening to it. I think when I started listening to it, I completed. Because it got so engaging and Alex was so open to sharing his experiences and he didn't feel as if he had to try and get some, how companies sometimes behave. Like we don't want to say too much just in case. He was even saying that we know that some people hate us. So it was so genuine, organic. Yeah. So that's going to be my
favorite. Awesome. Poga.
I think the Alex episode was one of my favorites. I think we've been following Hot Top from a distance. I mean, there are cases that, we've interacted with them for business. I mean, I was one of the people that hated Hotel. I mean,
He apologized.
the experience wasn't so great. So it was very revealing having him on the show to, give us first-hand insights on, their journey so far and their challenges.
Yeah.
It gave me a little bit of understanding of how they operate and, lay down their culture and, how as a company, their strategy that they've been using so far. So yeah, it was revealing, to have a close-up look at a company that you've been looking at from a distance. So yeah, it was great. We touched on various topics, government, contracts with ECG and, all those stuff. So yeah, it was first-hand revealing information. And also one of my favorite episodes will be the one with Eric. I think for Eric, the passion in which we discussed the issue that we discussed, was the thing for me. A very knowledgeable person with, decades of experience, outlining his journey into corporate and ending up in startup. It was a great conversation. It was a revealing conversation. There's a person who's played both sides, been in corporates for decades and is now working in startups, very interested in young minds and what they are doing. So you could feel the passion, you could feel the energy. It was just kind of like impacting, Holy Spirit's impactation of knowledge on you. So yeah, I recently had to re-listen to that conversation again, and yeah, it was, it had a lot of depth in it. So yeah, I like that episode a lot.
Yeah, cool. So for me, I think it's difficult right now choosing the two or choosing one. I mean, people have mentioned some top ones. That means I eliminated all those ones from my top list. So just of mind, the top for me was two. So it was Arena and Complete Farmer.
Yeah, I think Arena too was a great one.
I mean, Arena was like very blunt about building without like venture capital money and how to survive that. I think that's a story we don't hear that much, and that's what I think it aligns with like the Rapture story as well, because we don't hear much of those. We hear raise money, all those things. Go fast. But not many people are raising that money. Not many people are going that fast. But there are the stories we hear. So for a founder building in that space, that means you have to like be careful and disassociate from some of this noise.
Yeah.
And like truly build a company without worrying whether it's someone's money or not, that person's money. But that would be like my second. So my first would be Complete Farmer, Desmond. I think the reason why I like Complete Farmer was the all sides effect they had. So there was always a high side, a low side, a near death side, every people side. It's like everything. So I'm like, had all the emotions. They said that somebody even lost his life in it. Like that was like a whole thing. I think he had a more balanced side of the business. And also listening to him talk about like agri. I have a background from agri.
You studied agri?
I studied agri like from the university. And listening to him talk about agri and his experience in agribusiness, like he was knowledgeable, he knew what he was doing, he had an understanding of the business. It wasn't just because maybe they wanted to just make money out of it. Like it was an industry that he was tied to. And he has tried his best to adapt to the understanding of the industry.
He wasn't following it.
He wasn't following any trend. He wasn't following what is accepted, what is made. And he accepts some of his shortfalls. For example, that most VCs will not give to a black person easily unless it aligns with their story. And that was like a true thing to accept that, it probably, if you don't align with them in story, there's no better reason. You didn't go to Harvard, you didn't go to Stanford. You don't have any family members that are giving you seed round of 500,000 or something. You have to align with this on something. And that was something I have to accept. I don't think it's a compromise thing, but it's some of the things you have to accept in the world and play the game, shall you win. So, I mean, for me, that was like one of the best episodes. And so now I still enjoy it. Maybe if I'm going to venture into an agri-tech or something, I'll probably have to listen to it again before I start. Yeah. So that's it.
One thing everybody mentioned too, so I go up to Benjamin Saki's episode was like one of the impactful episodes for me as someone interested in building products and more from a product perspective. I think he really give us a landscape of how things have been and how things currently is. And then in there also, there are bits and pieces of career advice that are very relevant today.
Yeah.
I think it's a very important episode, even for people leading businesses to build products. Yeah. But very, very, I like that episode.
All right. So, we are going to Demo Fridays. We've hosted 2 Demo Fridays this year. I mean, the first one, for those who don't know about it, the first Demo Friday was a whole battle, and it was a whole package of unpreparedness, which, I mean, Poga and Yaw clearly said that we shouldn't do it. And I said,
that was not the case.
oh, that, you said we're not prepared, right? And it was true, we're not.
I think
it was a shorter time.
there was an issue of venue and timeline.
Yeah, and it was short.
I think it wasn't clear where the venue would be.
Yeah, I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, it was your fault. Why? I mean, so I think, you can go ahead, but there was this issue that the timeline was coming up and the venue wasn't set.
Yeah, so we managed to pull that first one, and one friend, I don't know, I'll get your feedback whether it's a success or not, but we've done 2. I mean, one slightly.
What was Demo Fridays? For people who don't know.
So, okay, so Demo Fridays is a day where we invite players in the tech community to come around and share their products, share their feedback, their experience. I mean, in terms of feedback, in terms of conversations, and let everyone learn as a whole and carry everyone along, not leave anyone behind. It was great, like having very experienced people come around. In the first one, for example, I mean, we having Cecil from eCampus, we having one of the founders from Redbird, I mean, having Ben himself, Irina, the Stefan, Dante guy, all there to share their experience, and a lot of like interested community folks who came around and gave their feedback. And even very good products being demoed. I mean, I don't know whether it's our effect, but some of the demoed products have gone on to do
VC funding.
Yeah, some have raised funds. We are part of the story, yes. So we help them raise funds and do all that. So that's what Demo Friday is about. It was just based on the idea that, I mean, when things like Apple was starting, they needed a community like the Homebrew Club to share ideas, to get a drive, to know that what they are building is necessary for a particular community. And I think our turnout has been bad so far. It's been good, like especially.
I mean, I think the turnout has been very great. It's been a very quality audience in both sessions of the Demo Friday. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, I think we have to apologize to some people. So for the first edition, we were very scared.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. One, our budget was very slim.
Yep.
So we couldn't accept everybody to the event.
Cool.
And because of that, we had to not accept people into the event.
Yeah.
And I don't think we publicly spoken about that anywhere. And I think this is a good opportunity. So if you were in and we didn't accept you, we are sorry. And don't view us as bad people. Don't view us as bad people. We are sorry. I think we can get back to
this. Yeah. So yes, usually for those who have applied for Demo Fridays before, when you register, we give like approval and all that. The approval is not because we want to show anybody that we know more than anyone. We are sorry for that. It's just sometimes because of the budgets, we have to accept only like a few people, and that's it. But obviously, as time goes on, the budget is getting sorted by, I mean, various supports and all that. We are expecting more. So another edition, please.
Yes.
Don't give up. Yeah. Shoot your shot.
Yeah, I know people who have applied twice that haven't gotten in. Yeah, but I think I recently tried to reach out to one of them to see how they are doing. But I just want to mention that the purpose of Demo Friday is to get our attendants to experience your app and give you feedback.
Yep.
So one of the criteria, I think in the next session we will publish our criteria for accepting the products for demoing, is that your app has to be live, whether it's in beta testing or it's by, test flights on the iOS. It has to be a version of the app that has to be live for people to use it. So that's one of our criteria for accepting people in. And yeah, as I mentioned, somebody has applied twice. They didn't get in, but I think it was basically because the app is not live. And, we are really interested in, seeing what you're building. Yeah. So I think recently reached out to one of them to see, how far with it. But I believe in that specific case, it has to do with the regulations. I think they're trying to build a fintech product, and I think probably they've not gotten the license to put it out there. So yeah, probably that's why their product is more live in any version. So yeah, that's it with that. Let's talk about the Demo Friday itself and how the experience has been. I mean, yeah, it's been.
Let's start with the first one. So that's
Yeah,
you separate.
sure.
Yeah, two separate events.
Yeah, for the first one it's been great. The attendance was, I think the room was maxed out. Yeah, it was, I think at the end, I felt very proud of what we did. There were great products, on, demoing on display. And, I think one of the most highlighting is the conversation, the panel discussion. As I was saying, it was very organic. The audience were very interactive.
Yeah.
We saw Cecil in there, given, decades of experience on, building e-campus. He gave a lot of feedback on the discussion. We had one of the co-founders of Redbird there. And, the audience were very engaging. I think the energy in the room was very organic and, something that inspired me personally that, we should do more of this. For me, I would take that kind of energy and a small number of people over a big number of people that, don't have that energy. I think and still think that small number of people that engaged a lot was way better than, if we had a large number of people and they weren't engaging and there wasn't energy, So, it comes back to what I've been saying through this podcast community, get people to interact, get them to talk. They'll end up building something. They'll end up helping each other. You'll end up hiring somebody. You might end up having somebody introduce you to somebody that, would invest in your business. So, yeah, I think it was a very successful one for me for the first edition.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, you were there for first edition. You've been there for second. First edition, you came as a attendee. Second edition, you're a host. Yeah. How has it been comparing the two and how far?
Okay. So just on record, right? What you guys thought you were ill prepared or for that event, I don't think that event looked any bit of ill preparedness. That event was hard. Like, it was one of the events I really enjoyed. I mean, around that time for the events that I attended, right? And more so because it gave us the opportunity to see some of the people on the podcast in person, interact with them, have conversations with them, hear from them, not just as a sound online, but actually as people who, have been in our shoes for some of our experiences. So yeah. So yes, I enjoyed the first demo Friday, and I was excited when I had to, be a part of the second one as a host.
Yeah.
And I think one of the feedback that I received from someone that I don't really know well, just probably been connections on LinkedIn. Person came up to me and was like, you guys, why are we not doing this like so many times in a year? Like, because the conversations, the quality, like Poga mentioned, the quality of the audience, the quality of feedback, right? You sit in your room and you think you're building something great. And you come
Somebody
and,
best your bubble there.
right? And
For
for
good,
good,
yeah.
it doesn't even make you feel as if you're not even doing anything.
Yeah.
It makes you feel rather encouraged, rather motivated. And you actually meet people who have, shared experiences with you at the same stage that you are in, thinking there's that same thing you're thinking. It's really nice. It is.
Yeah, what about you?
So the first one, I think at the latter part when I got into the room, as Fuga said, felt very fulfilled. When I got there, I also felt very fulfilled. I was just wondering, how did we pull together all these folks?
Yeah.
I think we had just 1 week to market the event. And the program was also very successful. The conversations were almost just like how we imagined.
Yeah.
And even better.
Yeah.
It wasn't, there were no bosses, everybody was so humble.
Yeah.
And people were sharing their opinions and sharing their thoughts, like genuinely. And for the second one, I like the fact that for the first one, we had Bear Connect demoing as a company. And the second one, we had them coming on board as a sponsor and as a partner. And also, like, it tells you that you are doing something which is so exciting that I come on as a demo team. And I want to support you to make it happen.
Yeah, we hope in the next one, the companies that demoed on the last one.
Maybe I started to have conversations.
Yeah, they
some
come as sponsors.
I think it was so good. So good.
I really wish we could air it, right? I think someone asked whether
we were sharing a recording. I was doing live.
All of it. We
need money.
So moving forward, we'll look into that. But I think in terms of collaborations, there's been like I've seen like insightful conversations happen, and people take it beyond that. I know, okay, this is the guy behind this campaign. This is the guy working here. This is the guy who can assist me here. I mean, some of the people, if not for some of these interactions, I probably wouldn't have known them in terms of them as like people I can whether recommend or ask. I mean, inquire from them if I have any challenge. I think Demo Fridays has been a place for that. That no matter what, now if you have been to Demo Friday, you can't say you don't know at least 5 people in the technical system or 10 people. You probably have more than that to engage with. So I think that's been one of the highlights for us.
Also, I use this opportunity to thank the companies that have hosted us. So West Africa, like Glad,
like
for believing in us. Well, it was just a raw idea. And then for like ELX also, glad you might come back again.
So thank you, Mr. ELX, for hosting us for Demo Fridays first and second edition. We are really grateful, and we'll be coming back to you for more collaboration. You don't give up.
Oh, I mean, if you're a company and you think you can offer us a space to host, the next session for it.
I think the space we have it, but something else.
So bring in more support, whether it's funds or refreshment or that, because we want people to feel at home when they come for like Demo Fridays. So moving from Demo Fridays,
I think just a quick shout out to Office Man. I think for the first edition, he really pushed for us for the space. So just a big shout out to her.
She even plays like as in the best newsletter.
I
think we featured in the
Thank you.
Thank you.
On GDI, the Ghana Tech Innovation Week, I think that was the first physical event we hosted before Demo Fridays. And I think we even maxed out the space that year. That was last year. And this year we got to present again. And interesting, we got to present on it. Because last year we spoke about why startups fail. This year we spoke about the lessons learned for 10 years successful startups. So I think there's minus plus. That's a good one. How did you find it? We spoke about the preview on the Ghana Tech Playbook. How was the experience at the Ghana Tech Innovation Week hosting our session, giving a session?
I think it was good. It's interesting. I don't know if this was aligned in advance, but it's interesting how we talked about, how startup feels, and, we did a whole of a decade, and also we came to talk about, companies that have, existed for over 10 years and have succeeded in the whole of a decade. And also one interesting thing, I think during the first Ghana Digital Innovation Week, there was a feedback that, somebody gave a feedback that she was expecting real life, situations. And, in a turn around, we came to the whole of a decade, and, we actually provided this. I don't know if you had it in mind or if there was any inputs, but it just happened. But, that, we had this, real life example of talking to people that have existed in the industry, for over 10 years. I don't know if in the previous one we could have done an autopsy. Most Ghanaians don't like talking about,
I feel like
something.
That one, there wasn't a lot of context. So even the autopsy, you can't do it.
It was interesting how the turnaround came. And, we did this, this one, the whole of the decade, the Tech Playbook. And I think, it was an interesting one. We got to share the lessons that we've had on the podcast. And, I think after the events, we talked to a couple of people and they loved it, and their feedback was very great.
So it's like she's the GDIW host expert.
She hosted us last
year on the GDIW TV. So this time she was just hosting us, and I was part of the hosting our session. How did you find it?
Okay, so to be fair, I wasn't in the room for last year's last year's Building Bytes session, yes. And but then this year's one was really, really great because like we've all mentioned so far, we are basically helping you, picking you up from like what holding you by the hand and showing you that okay, that's why in Ghana you are going to fail if you are doing a tech startup, right? And then showing you people who have done it and then coming to tell you that okay, this is what you should do if you want to make it. Right? I don't know if maybe we can have like a startup graveyard, just to encourage people that it's okay to fail, guys. Yeah. But then people have done it and so can you. Right? So I think that session at GDIW was very much needed, especially at this point in time when funding is very, on the low here in the Ghanaian tech ecosystem. And you still see that people are doing it without VC funding, angel funding. And you are hearing their stories. And it's really just about determination and zeal and a good team, right? So there's still potential in the Ghanaian tech ecosystem, and this gives us hope, right? And I am really excited that we are about to launch a tech playbook for the Ghanaian tech ecosystem.
What is the Ghanaian tech playbook about? You can chip in that with the GDIW also.
Okay.
So I'll start with that. It's basically a playbook. So a playbook is more like a strategy book that's football teams use, seeing how they are going to play, or who's going to fall treated. But in our case, we've spoken to a lot of people, all the people that Caleb mentioned. And then as you speak to a lot of successful people in the Ghanaian context, realize that they are a trend in what's happened, what they did. And they realize that some of these trends shouldn't just sit on the episodes. Because not everybody will get to listen to other 25 episodes. So we are putting all together all this valuable insight and making them ready for anyone, to guide anyone. Not just building companies, but also building careers. So that's the Ghana Tech Playbook, which we are hoping to launch before the year ends. But to talk about my experience, on the day, I think I felt fulfilled again. The fact that I think for a long time, maybe the Ghanaian ecosystem has been quiet, and for a long time we've been succeeding in silos. Everybody has been succeeding in their own way. But no one has really brought everything that we've done together. And I know it's still like a small set of ecosystem, but then the relevant ones all together and then present it in a way. If you bring them together, you see patterns, and then it's much easier for people consuming to learn from them. So I think that was like my experience. I felt fulfilled, and I'm only looking forward to us putting it out finally, and then getting to see the feedback, and then also from people who were present at the section, some of their feedback online was cool. I felt like the insights really sinked in. Really sinked in. Like they were quoting some of the insights from the section. It felt good, and it also felt like you're not just interviewing people for interview sake. We're also providing some value to people. So,
I think I was really excited when I saw three posts online talking about some of the things we learned from our session. I feel like that, and we didn't know these people too. That's the interesting thing. We didn't know these people. We've never met them before, and they explained how this session helped them a lot. And not long after that, I got a message from one of the guests on the show that when I'm releasing the tech playbook, they want to know about it. I mean, this the whole idea of sometimes building a community and getting other feedback, because out of the episodes we had, now we're going to write a book. I don't think in our plan we didn't plan for this, but all of a sudden we're going to write a book and get all this out. So I'm looking forward to that, and I can tell anyone listening or made the session that those times were really great. I mean, even the times the examples we give in the episodes, all the episodes we highlight, they are practical real life stuff. So even in the career advice we give, I can recall a lot of them. When we mention it, everybody knows that this one it's true. There was that there was that feedback. You see that non-verbal feedback that, yeah, this, if you follow this advice, like, it works for you, it will work for you.
If you want the pictures from the event, almost everybody was like this. And sometimes you might think maybe it wasn't going well, but we were just absorbing what was happening.
Yeah.
We were just absorbing what was happening.
Yeah. What are some of the, I mean, if you don't like the playbook, but what should people look forward in the playbook?
What I believe, what we're planning to put together, hopefully, I think at the end of, this season, the playbook will be out, but, what they should look at, insights, from, the people that we've interviewed. I think there is some trend that we are seeing across all these interviews, like some strategies that they'll be using that works, something like, telling an authentic story, something that we've seen that, it's an insight that's across, most of the people, or if not all of the people that we've interviewed. Something like building for the culture, not being too reliant on statistics and data. And how to navigate, political environments in your, career. There are a lot of workplace politics, how to navigate it in your career. If you're a technical person, how to take you beyond being just technical to, being in the leadership position and, having the fruit of your labor. There's sometimes, be a technical person just being in the back room working, how to step into leadership position or be the face of the product that you're building so that, you have the most fruit of your labor. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we're gleaning from this. We're still gleaning a lot of knowledge as we look into the interviews that we've had and, analyzing the insights. I think it will be, let's say, a holy grail of Ghana Tech ecosystem that if you have a look at it and if you apply it, you apply grades to your grind. I think it will take you far. So people should look at it, look forward to it when it comes out. It will be good. I think one thing we plan on doing is to have these people that we've interviewed review the insight that we've gotten from it. As Arena is looking forward to it. It's something that we have a look at and put a stamp of approval on it, so that we know that we're bringing out credible information that if people stick to, it will work for them and work for their companies and work for their careers in tech.
Awesome. Thank you, Poga.
We'll be launching a website soon so that people can wait this for the book.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, look forward to the website for the Ghana Tech Playbook.
I think you can go there, Ghana Tech Playbook, but there's nothing there yet. So
by the time we do so, there'll be something.
Yeah. So check out Ghana Tech Playbook. .com or .com.
This one we didn't do that.
No, Africa. So Ghana Tech Playbook.com. Go there and get to wait list for the upcoming book. Yeah. Akweley, what should they look forward to in the Ghana Tech Playbook?
Okay, so I think my colleagues have said a lot, but one thing that even though we can say that some people have stayed in the Ghana Tech ecosystem for long, it's still new. Right? It's still a new work culture. It's still a new way of working. And I'm seeing young people taking the lead in this space. And that's for me something that, for every young person watching or listening, you should be very proud of, that you're contributing to building how you work or your style of working, because you realize that for people who are entrepreneurial or people who like to work, most of your days you're working, right? And for people in tech, we spend more than 80% of our day building stuff, pushing things out, staying online, right? And even people who are not in tech, right, stay online. And so having this tech playbook allows you to basically contribute or understand how the space is evolving, and then also contribute to how your own, the narrative of the Ghanaian digital space or the Ghanaian tech space evolves, right? And you can also get tips for team building from some of these episodes, how they're able to form their teams. Like I said, the entrepreneur space is still new, and you get people on WhatsApp groups saying that I'm looking for a co-founder, and you realize that you don't find an actual co-founder just by putting it on a WhatsApp group that I'm looking for a co-founder.
Listen, you can tell that team was going nowhere.
Yeah, because you have to have a personal experience of the problem you are looking at solving.
Yeah.
And those are insights you are going to gain from the tech playbook. You're also going to gain some of the ways that they have studied their markets, some industries in agriculture, in the gaming space, financial space. You get to understand how to approach market analysis and not just follow TAM, Samsung, TM, but actually go to the market, do the work. You really get to understand that there's so much similarities in some of the tech spaces, the different what's it called, industries. Yeah, and it's really, I mean, insightful. You should look forward to it.
Cool. Yeah, so I think for me as well, one of the things I picked clearly from it is, I remember this clearly. So I can mention his name. It's Benjamin Saki's episode. He spoke about how to stand out in an organization and talking about a team member for each stand out. There are basic things can do. One of them was show up in meetings, turn on your camera, speak. I mean, that was like a very simple advice. And we all could testify like how it helps just obeying that, just doing that in your career, like can advance your career, which he mentioned has helped him advance his career. So you can imagine, I intentionally mentioned this specifically, so maybe you can try it out. You share feedback with us by the time you do this, and let's see how it goes. So things like some of these practical things are going to be listed in the tech playbook, and you get the chance to keep all your tabs on it and see how you can advance your whether your startup or your career in the tech ecosystem. Yeah. So the last session of our conversation, we want to catch up what's happening in your professional lives, business life, career lives. What are you doing? What projects are you working on? What are you touching base on? We are hoping to hear everyone. Because we want to hear you that yes, some people think people do this for full time. I mean, not two people, like we all do this for full time. So I don't know, anyone can come in. I think this one.
Maybe to start. Yeah. I don't do this for full time. I don't know about this one. I don't do this for full time. I have a regular 9 to 5 here, which I do remotely. Yeah. So I'm a product design consultant for a company. But I work on a number of products for that company. And aside that, I'm trying to start a software business with a couple of you guys here. For Ubadi, which I know people are wondering what has happened.
The Ubadi they had in season 1.
From my point of view, the project is on pause, right? Because we put a pause on
still.
It hasn't collapsed.
It's something that personally I would like to circle back to. Yeah.
So we put a pause on it.
Yeah.
One of our co-founders, Japan, that also affected us emotionally on a lighter mix. But I mean, we put a pause on it. That would be like from my end. And I don't do this full time. I don't do this podcast.
Why?
I think it's the same for everyone.
Emphasizing on that.
To stop you from shining anyway. Okay, so for me to just like you said, like you have a 9 to 5. So I'm with the Ghana Climate Innovation Center as an entrepreneurship officer, so it supports SMEs in the climate space. Or who wants to go climate. So if maybe you're watching this, you're trying to build a climate tech startup, or you're interested in the climate space, you can reach out or check out the Ghana Climate Innovation Center.org, GCIT, GhanaCIT.org. Aside that, we are here on some evenings and some weekends doing Building Bytes and stuff. Not forgetting also, we recently launched our new podcast, Road to Green. So it's a sustainability podcast or a climate-based podcast.
So because you work at climate, that's why you are doing that.
Before I joined my new organization, I was actually working on sustainability in the previous organization with a team member. And I'm glad to have that team member on as a co-host because I believe she's one of the experts in in the climate space. I'm glad to be here. So we are working on Road to Green, a new podcast we plan. So stay tuned. And still building, trying to find what's the next major major business or product could be. So yeah, keep up.
For blow the money so. Yeah. One other thing is as we are listening and hearing the insight firsthand, what it does is it changes you.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I can frankly say like it changes you, challenges what you think could be and what you think can be done.
Yeah.
And I think maybe time will tell, but we'll see it in our work and how we are approaching even trying to build businesses for us.
Okay.
So yeah, I also have my 9 to 5. Working as a software engineer. I recently started schooling, doing my masters. So that's also one.
What are you doing? What are you specializing in?
Finance. Yeah.
Wow,
hopefully we circle back to fintech. That's where
also because of that's the
I think one, and it's also general interest in finance. Hopefully, we get into fintech, merge technology and fintech together. Apart from that, I feel like we're doing a zillion other things. We're working on the Tech Playbook, which trying to start a software company. We're working on, I don't know, I can't get it off there, but I think we're working on a zillion other things.
Yeah. I mean, even in Building Bytes, a number of projects.
We try to share, I think what we're working on, the build, we try to share, behind the scene experiences of our day-to-day activities. So it's Building Bytes, something that I've been working on. We try to start other projects. So we're working on a zillion other things. Hopefully one of them would catch fire.
When you're done, I'll highlight one of them. It is premature, but I'll still highlight.
Yeah.
Sure. So basically that's it for me. What else? Yeah, nothing much.
Yeah.
I think come.
Okay.
Let me highlight.
Okay.
I think
So that I'm not biased.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. So I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I have a 9 to 5. I'm an entrepreneur.
She's the only full-time entrepreneur here.
Yes. So my company, Rivella, we graduated from MES Africa last 2 months, and we've been at it. We do startups every day. Oh yeah. So Rivella is a skincare beauty app. So we call ourselves biotech and health tech. Yeah. So we are in that and then in the beauty space. So you can imagine. But then what we do is we offer services for skincare businesses, mostly the retailers and e-commerce, who have customers coming to their websites or their social media. So we offer a link in bio service. It's like a web app that helps you to assess your customer's skin tone. So you basically get to know about the skin of your customers, if they are skin tone, skin type, and skin conditions. And Rivella is able to recommend products based on your business's portfolio. Yeah, so it's helping with customer service, it's helping with your go-to-market strategy. One company we are working with is using Rivella, building momentum towards Black Friday. Yeah, so we are getting there in terms of paying customers, and we're also looking for pre-seed funding. So
cool.
If you're a VC listening, yeah.
Or if you're an angel, please.
If you're an angel, give us one.
You could do a little more with your $10,000, $100,000. They are very humble.
Yes. Thank you very much. Well, in addition, I also do, tech events organizing, and public speaking. Yeah.
Also, just this stuff. Yeah.
So the one of the projects I wanted to highlight is techleaders.africa. So at this point, I don't know what to call it, but
you have given the name already.
Yeah, but I don't know what category to put that project.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it's a media platform, like more like written stories platform.
Yeah.
Sometimes I also feel like it's a community. Yeah. But maybe I'll start with it being a media platform. And then why we are doing that. One, when we started this podcast, we've had 25 episodes so far. There are a lot of relevant news articles out of it. Yeah. And then no one has written it out of it.
Yeah, we are writing yourself.
Yes, and we feel like we can't leave that work to anyone else to do it. Yeah, it's only us who can do it, and we understand it, and then so we are putting out that platform, which right now it's you can check it out. Yeah, techleaders.africa. We're rolling out
more stories.
Yeah, bit by bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe Tech Leaders Africa is going to be something like the having team post. Yeah, I think I see that trajectory, or maybe, yeah, if you know of the team, we can follow us and be guiding us. What you are not doing was already aligned there. One of the things I personally learned from being part of like Building Bytes is we don't wait for people to do before we follow. If no one is doing it, we start doing it. I mean, that's how kind of podcast started, because no one was sincerely talking about the Ghanaian tech ecosystem. We talk about it. People talk about it with their interest, which is fine. Like, yeah, is our show. We said, okay, we don't want to hear that. We want to tell our own story. So whatever project you are driving is because we know or realize that there's that gap there in the market. And that's what we want to solve. Yeah. So on what is motivating you? I think that'll be our final question. What keeps you going? What's keeping you up even for this podcast? What's keeping you up with your daily life?
Can I mention one last thing I do at the end of this? So we were putting together a list of class of pioneers for tech leaders.
Yeah.
So basically a list of people who are doing amazing stuff in the ecosystem, and then highlight celebrating them. It's something that we'll be doing at the end of the year. We're just giving a tip of it.
All right. Are we going to open like application for people to submit people who are doing well in the tech ecosystem? Do you want to do that?
I think we should. We'll decide.
I mean, we can get like entries that we can review.
I mean, okay, we could see, but I think we all know the people that are doing well.
We don't.
That's also true. Like the numbers still like
Yeah.
The numbers still.
But there could be people who are not really like out there, but they're doing amazing.
It's a pioneers list. If you're a pioneer, everybody
will know you. Okay, that's good. So what's keeping you? What's motivating your final words? What's keeping you going?
My final words, what's keeping you going? So I think basically, for me is the impact that we are making. One thing that, I was also wanted to do more in the last Demo Friday, I saw there were some tweets, that, were interested in tech that came. I think, people are seeing that, we have an influence and they're coming to see us. Yeah. And one thing, I would like to do more probably in the next Demo Friday, is, engage with people, take the time to have conversation with people, talk to the audience that are in the room. And also, basically, my goal for doing this is, to provide mentorship for some of these people, that come to our events, I feel like we need to do much more. We want to grow the ecosystem, we want to drive growth. I think we need to have a personal touch with these people, provide mentorship and guidance, for some of these upcoming people. I think us being able to train people, to impact people, it's widening the ecosystem. It brings in more talents. It helps give people directions and help them grow. And, we get a much more richer ecosystem that would be of benefit to us more. So I think, what keeps me going is the impact. And I want to, take this motivation feed it back into, mentoring more people and making more impact and, having a much bigger, richer ecosystem that will be of benefits to us all. Yeah, basically.
Awesome. Very inspirational. Thank you, Judge Washington.
It wasn't plagiarized.
He wasn't plagiarized.
No.
Okay, so for me, what keeps me going is basically relationships, right? So Building Bytes has created, not just a community or a networking event, but an actual relationship building platform for Ghanaian tech players in this space. And, for people who are entrepreneurial or entrepreneurs, you realize that, your families and friends, they don't really see you as doing much because they don't really see, as much of...
You don't have a job.
Yeah, they see you as you're jobless, right?
What I do? What is this remote thing?
Yeah.
Go for
Yeah, when you work remotely, nobody restricts. They want to send you because you don't need to.
Yeah. So having this conversation, these kind of conversations with people who are like you, getting to know people, how people have done it, and so that's hand holding, that's mentorship, and like I said, relationships. They've been built, they've been grown, and they are leading to, places. As a digital marketer, I can say for a fact that I have really gotten a lot of, support from the community. And that's something that motivates me. And in addition to the impact, of course. Yeah.
I think what motivates me is quite similar to Akweley, but mine is more like we are creating a platform for connection building.
Yeah.
So, and I've experienced it firsthand. We interviewed a founder on the podcast, and then another founder heard about what the guys are building, and they want us to partner with them to build something.
Yeah.
And then we have to facilitate that conversation.
Yeah.
So, founder A, founder B wants to build something. Please help him out, and then you get to connect. Yeah. We've done that not once, not twice, a number of times. Yeah. And also on the pod, people come on the podcast, and after coming on the podcast, they want to support. We have a new space we are recording from. It's because of someone who came on the podcast, which we'll talk about later. Maybe not on this episode, but talk about that later. And I think bits and pieces of that kindness and also that connection building, really motivates me. Like, you are doing something that is not just impacting you, it's impacting a lot more people. Yeah. And a lot more people are seeing that impact, and a lot more people also want to support them, be a part of it and make it happen. I think it really motivates me. And then if you could be, let me not good. Let me not good. I know what I'm saying, but
financially,
but let me not good. Let me not good. But so far, the kindness that is being shown, not to kindness that's being shown, and the connections that are being built, really motivates me a lot.
Yeah. For me, I'm looking forward to see like those first $500 million companies that maybe through our input or our experience or our exposure, they had that light, or they came to that light, or they raised that fund, or they got that connection, they got that contact. I'm really looking forward to like those experiences. People who say that they read Tech Leaders Brief and that's what brought them to start a startup. They listen to an episode where ideas come from, and that led to a startup. They listen to maybe a particular thing, and like we worked on that, and that is what is influencing them. I think I'm looking forward to that day. And in the whole, I think Basecamp is a company that motivates me. Like a company that can say their mind, build their products, collaborate on every end, and so impact people to even build. I think that's the kind of company or institution or organization I want us to create. And until we get there, I'm still striving for that kind of excellence. Yeah. So that will be it for today on reflecting our journey with Building Bytes, over 25 plus episodes, 2 Demo Fridays, 2 sessions on Ghana Data Innovation Week, and hundreds of community members that we've had on. If this is your first time, this is Building Bytes. You can listen to us every week, tell relevant stories about the Ghanaian tech ecosystem while striving with innovation. Thank you so much for every Friday joining us. Every Friday for joining us on this episode. And we are looking forward to getting your feedback, rating us online. So wherever you listen to our podcast, on rate us, the stars, the reviews, subscribe, like everything. If it's YouTube, like our channel, follow, subscribe, click the bell. Everything. So like do. Thank you so much, and have a great time. See you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.